Hello, welcome or welcome back. Today I want to tell you about how the worst is already over for you if you've done well in your CAT or in the ZAT or in both. Okay, so the thing is, quite often, let me give you an example actually. So in CAT, suppose the right answer was C and you've marked A. Okay, especially in VARC, because you thought you interpreted the passage in a particular way. There is no way you can go back and tell the examination conducting body that no, I think it's A because I interpreted it this way, right? Of course, I understand there's some degree of logic to the questions that are asked, but you know how language is. Language is very interpretive. Sometimes you might create a new meaning out of it, which is not the answer that matches with what the examination body has said, right? So there's no way of going back and fighting with them. But in an interview, I'm not saying you should fight. What I'm saying is that you have the opportunity to go back to them and present to them your point of view. So you can lay down your frame of thought and tell them this is why I believe in this particular reason. So even if you have a diametrically opposite point which completely contradicts what the interviewer believes in, if you can substantiate it with confidence, logic and rationale, then you're good. So before I tell you how to control the interview, I do want to talk about a shout out to our sponsor. We have Physics Wala, and this is for all of you who want to take the CAT again in 2025. You want to retake it or you want to take it for the first time. Physics Wala has two particular programs which I would like to talk about. One is Physics Wala Pioneer and the other one is Physics Wala Pro. Physics Wala Pioneer has over 12,000 practice questions, over 300 live and recorded videos, and over 20 mock tests. And they also give you preparation for other management entrance exams. So this is SNAP, ZAT and all the others. Now if you want this and more, there's Physics Wala Pro, which gives you access to previous year's papers, Physics Wala Khazana, which is like this repository of all the resources that we have used over the past, offline books, over 7 years previous year's questions, and more. So the prices have been cut down right now, and they're on the banners right next to me. So please check them out. You will also get an additional 500 rupee discount if you use my code MIL500. So definitely check it out if you're taking the exam again. And thank you to Physics Wala for sponsoring this video. And let's go back right into the video. Okay, so why did I say that the interview is in your hand? I said that because, see, one is, of course, I already explained to you, which is that you can always substantiate your point of view. Second is the first opening question, which is 95% of the times, tell me something about yourself, is where you can completely hijack the interview. So you can take the steering wheel from the interviewer's hands and you can go sit on the driver's seat and you can control the entire narrative of the interview if you do it smartly. Okay? Now remember that in this question, tell me something about yourself, everything that you say is going to be used against you. Okay, but if you know it inside out, it won't be used against you. What do I mean by it? Suppose you say that I'm so and so. I am born in this city. I am a trained classical dancer. Okay. Now, when it comes to your extracurriculars, chances are you will be asked something about dance. But if you don't know anything about your dance, you just do some Bollywood dance. Even if you do Bollywood dance, that's fine. As long as you know some veterans in that field, as long as you know some theory behind it. See, the thing is, everything that you say, you should know that inside out. So in this question, when they say, tell me something about yourself, every point that you put out there, you should know it inside out. Okay? So the interviewer is not going to ask you questions on random things happening in the world. Everything will be centered around you. So everything will stem from you, but it is also everything that you said. So I'll give you an example. Okay? And sometimes it can be a little random. I'll give you an example for that also, but I'll tell you an easy one. So in my interview, I spoke about how I talk a lot about mental health. I fight for mental health advocacy, etc. First statistic they asked me is, what is the incidence of mental health in India? Okay? Thankfully, I knew the figures. I knew because I've done a lot of work around that space, so I had the right figures in my mind. I said the right figures. And then, of course, they asked me other questions on how I want to make an impact, blah, blah, blah. But the reason I'm saying this is that if you talk about something that you're passionate about, you should know the statistics behind it, number one. Number two, you should know the veterans in that field. So you should know important work that's being done. If it is say mental health, you should know important developments that are happening. So like I was asked a question on, quote unquote, the what after me policy. So yeah, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but I knew some aspects of it. So I managed to talk about it. However, I was also asked a very random question. I went to an undergraduate college called Sophia. So the interviewer was like, okay, he thought it's Sophia because it's spelled as Sophia. So he was like, can you tell me something about Hagia Sophia? which was very random. But if you look at it, it's again come from me. He didn't ask me about tell me about the Eiffel Tower, right? He asked me about something which is centered around me. Of course, I didn't bring it up in the interview, but remember that whatever you say, even if you're saying that I went to this college, know about the history of that college, know about your own college history, know about your college tagline, why, who gave that tagline, motto, what does the motto mean, if it's in Sanskrit or if it's in some other language. So keep in mind that everything you say in your interview, you have to know it inside out. If you don't know it, don't say. Okay, it's as simple as that. The moment this becomes clear in your head, you have complete power over how the interview goes. Because see, like I said before, no one's going to ask you questions on things you don't know. Like I was never asked a question about sports because I never brought it up. I hate sports. And I know nothing about it. No sport. I don't know anything about any sport. So I never brought it up, and I gave almost 10 to 12 interviews and nobody ever asked me about anything sported. So see, you don't have to waste your time learning random stuff, which is why I say that Manorama is the worst resource to use. Not because it's not good enough, it's very comprehensive if you're preparing for the UPSC or something. But if you're preparing for the CAT, it's very useless because it has everything, and you're not expected to know everything. You're expected to know everything about things that concern you and things that you bring up in the interview. So always remember that. If you do that, the interview is literally in your hands. You can steer it however you want to. Like I said, if the driving wheel's in your hand, the steering wheel, not the driving wheel, you have complete autonomy. You can control the entire interview, and the interviewer is just a puppet then. So keep that in mind. Remember that the worst is already over, and remember to know everything about what you're saying. So I would suggest you prepare an answer, okay? Prepare a Word doc on tell me something about yourself. उसमें whatever you're mentioning, उसके बारे में learn it inside out, ठीक है? Suppose you're saying I worked with this company for 5 years. Know about that company, know how is it doing financially, what have been some of the recent developments. Even if you've left the company, why is the company in news? Suppose there's been a merger that has happened, it has acquired some company. Know about those things. You're expected to know about these things. You will not be expected to know about some weird Scandinavian company which is operating out of some remote corner of the world, because that's not concerning you. But if it's a company you worked in, definitely you will be expected to know these answers. Okay, so that's more or less the gist of it. So like I was saying, prepare a Word doc, write down the potential questions that can come, and वहाँ से start doing your research. ठीक है? Put yourself in the interviewer's shoes. If you had an interviewee who would come to you with this particular profile, कैसे सवाल पूछोगे तुम उनसे? Right? And try to get the answers to those questions. That's the best approach. ठीक है? I hope it helped, and I will see you soon. Take care and good luck.